nice. Very good. I'm flattered. Good introduction. So, blockchain people have this urge to take on the whole world at once. A lot of future things are always being promised by, companies, people, chains, applications, left and right. I'm a developer, but yeah, if you didn't notice. But to be precise, I'm a blockchain product developer. And I want to talk a bit about how we do stuff right now, not in some decentralized future that might or might not come. So, who am I? Nils Fohlin. I'm working for a Swedish company called Chromaway as a solutions architect. And over the last 2 years, I've been involved with several different projects. Among them are Chromia, the layer 1 blockchain that Chromaway is building. And then we have Mines of Dalarnia, a play-to-earn game where players can rent land from landowners and dig in their mines. And then we have Corite, a blockchain-based music crowdfunding platform where artists can come to the platform, release songs and albums, and then fans can back them, and in the end, they share the revenue stream from Spotify and Apple Music and so on. And then we have BloqHouse, a real-world asset tokenization protocol where we mostly tokenize real estate and sell it to people on the blockchain. So as you can see, these projects are they're going from very digital to very real worldly. So we have Mines of Dalarnia, where we have, digital land, all the way over to BloqHouse, where we have real estate or real land on the blockchain. So in the beginning, when I got into this industry, as far as I was concerned, the purpose of blockchain was to remove the middleman and, build something democratized, decentralized, borderless, trustless. Trust the code, not a human or institution. And these ideas all are sort of rooted in the original blockchain ethos of Bitcoin. So I will be using the word ethos quite a bit in this presentation. And when I'm using the word ethos, I'm referring to these decentralization, maximalism beliefs. The belief that the sole purpose or one of the primary functions of a blockchain is to remove the middleman. Remove human intervention or influence over whatever you're building. So these principles are central to Bitcoin. And Bitcoin was the first blockchain. Many people have assumed or believed that everything you build on a blockchain should accomplish the same. And when I first began as a blockchain developer, I held these same beliefs. And now I'm sure you all know what Bitcoin is and how it works, but I just want to go over it because I think it's important for this presentation. So if you're trying to build a digital, decentralized, global currency, it is critical that it is censorship resistant, that it will continue to run or exist, that it has no central authority, that it has no single point of failure or reliance, and that the system is as virtual as possible. And just to drive in that last point a bit, so a key feature of Bitcoin is that all you need for a Bitcoin is contained within the chain itself. A Bitcoin token, so to speak, does not derive its value from anything outside the chain. meaning it's not pointing to something, it is the thing. And it has value because of the blockchain it sits on. In other words, Bitcoin and the blockchain ethos are perfectly aligned. So now to the fun part. A lot of blockchain application projects are projecting that they are about the same thing, like immutability, decentralization, trustlessness, like code is law. And this is mostly a charade. Either by choice or inherently by design, they can't really live up to the ethos. Like, it's resulting in that the project is relying on human intervention or real-world effort or some type of asset for the project to work. And here are some examples, high level and detailed. So many blockchain projects are developed and maintained by a team, and the fate of the project depends on the team continuing to develop and making decisions. So this is what I would call a human breakpoint. And then we have the game space or metaverse game, whatever you want to call it, where, and yes, like one of the projects I'm doing, Mines of Dalarnia, where it usually goes that users own assets within the game because they are on the blockchain. But for the game to work, it needs a server, meaning without the server that is centralized, the game can't exist. And hence, like the assets, all the assets are not deriving all their value from the chain. And this is what I would call a technical breakpoint. And then we have stuff like USDC, a stablecoin that the American company Circle has created. And if you've been following the crypto space lately, you know that Circle put in a blacklist function in the token protocol on chain, meaning they can freeze your tokens in your wallets without your consent. Which they also did to like wallets that had interacted with the application Tornado Cash. And they did so because the government told them to. So this is what I would call a legal breakpoint. But USDC or Circle actually had this power anyways, even without this blacklist function in the contract. Because the USDC token is not deriving its value from the chain. The USDC token is pointing to a real world, like fiat USD dollar that Circle has in the bank. And as you may know, banks can go under, the banks can get robbed. So that was a couple of examples of how like the ethos is broken by inevitable external connections to real-world objects. And as I gained more and more experience and knowledge as a blockchain developer, I started to think about these like disconnects, these breakpoints more and more. I sort of started asking myself, is there any point in developing stuff on the blockchain if these centralization, influence, like control risks are unavoidable? It got to the point where I started to feel like I was lying to the users, but not in a rug pull Ponzi scheme kind of way, but because no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't make my products live up to this blockchain ethos. So while I might have been a bit extreme in my thoughts or like my adherence to this ethos, I saw that a lot of companies and a lot of blockchain developers had this same dilemma in the back of their head. This constant struggle to live up to this ethos. This way of thinking is stupid. Because if the blockchain can help you accomplish something that you couldn't accomplish before, then it doesn't matter if the project lives up to some ethos or not. In other words, what shifted in my mind was that the product is more important than the ethos or the blockchain, not the other way around. So, it's fair enough to say that many blockchain applications have some centralization risks. However, it is also the case that regular non-blockchain applications have these centralizations or centralization built into its design on a fundamental level. Like you can't remove it. So, do you only build stuff on the blockchain where it's possible to remove the centralization? Or do you use the blockchain as a technology to accomplish a goal? With the latter, the question really becomes, can I use blockchain to help me build something that is better than what already exists? Because if the answer is yes, it's irrelevant if the project or product lives up to some ethos or not. If blockchain can make something better, we should use it, period. So if we now view blockchain as a technology, we can see that it kind of is just a robust database that can enforce rules and do computation. And I think that private blockchain applications highlights this in a very good way. So, a little case study. So Walmart in Canada had this huge problem in that they were using 70 different third-party freight carriers, and they had payment disputes with all of them. So they turned to blockchain, a robust database that can enforce rules and do computation. And they implemented a blockchain solution for the whole operation, and it has not only virtually eliminated all the payment problems, it has also led to significant operational efficiencies. By all accounts, it's been a tremendous success. Before the system, 70% of invoices were disputed. Now less than 1% of the invoices have discrepancies. They are easily flagged and resolved by humans. So no more payments taking weeks or months. Carriers are getting paid on time. But now you might be sitting in the audience and thinking, yeah, okay, but why are you telling me about Walmart in Canada? Well, I'm telling you this because the blockchain, very few people have a problem with the blockchain ethos dilemma when it comes to private blockchains. They see that it creates a good solution and it solves a problem. And I want to make the case that the same can go for public, decentralized blockchains. The fact that the blockchain itself is living up to some ethos can trick you into thinking that the application you put on it has to do the same. It doesn't. And to showcase this, I want to talk a bit about one of my projects, BloqHouse. So Through the use of blockchain and NFTs, BloqHouse allows for fractionalization of high-value assets, like real estate, which in turn is allowing us to open up the real estate market to more ordinary people, a market that was previously reserved for people with high net worth. And the end result of this is increasing salability of the assets, increasing liquidity of the assets, and providing more transparency through the blockchain records. I mean, this is a good thing, even or despite the fact that the property asset represented by the NFT can be seized by the government, it can go up in flames, or the company maintaining it can go bankrupt. And it's important here to remember that all similar non-blockchain-based solutions would carry the exact same risk anyways. The difference is that blockchain provides us a streamlined infrastructure to accomplish our goal. By utilizing blockchain technology, we don't have to set up entities in a bunch of countries. We don't have to manage exchange between dozens of fiat currencies. We don't have to build a secure and robust system to keep the records. We don't have to run a server. We don't have to handle deposits and withdrawals to 10 different banks in 10 different countries. I mean, this was not possible 10 years ago. If we can use blockchain to make investments more accessible and give the public a possibility that they didn't have before, then we should use it even if the project is centralized. It provides value despite the fact that the project relies on a team, a company, that the house is not going up in flames, and the rule of law in general. Not living up to the ethos does nothing to negate the fact that blockchain is being used to improve the world. So, there are a lot of people, mostly uninformed, who believe that the entirety of blockchain is this Bitcoin, Ethereum, NFTs, ICOs, and rug pulls, Ponzi schemes, and straight up scams are this inseparable beast. It's usually these people who say blockchain doesn't solve anything. On the other side of the spectrum, we have the purists, the blockchain maximalists, who say that there is but one use case for blockchain, Bitcoin, or something very similar to Bitcoin. And while I sympathize a lot more with these people, we can't let this narrow view sort of infect us and pull the handbrake on everything else. So to wrap up, what have I been saying here? Well, first of all, let's clear the air a bit. Would I love for Bitcoin to be the money of the world? Yes. Do I hate government control? Yes. Exactly. But secondly, a common view of blockchain is that it is this new decentralized power to the people, code is law technology, and everything built on top of it should accomplish the same. But does that really mean we shouldn't build stuff that you can control on the blockchain? If we can make something new or something existing better, make it more accessible, transparent, open, or just easier, then how can that be bad? Build products that accomplish your goal. Do not build products that is trying to live up to some ethos. Let the blockchain skeptics people play in their corner. Let the blockchain purist people play in their corner. You can play with none of them. You can play with one of them, or you can play with both of them when you have to. Ask not, how can I force some concept into the blockchain ethos? Ask, what can the blockchain do for me now, and then build it. Because then you will be in the future, and everyone else will be waiting for it to arrive. Thanks. Any questions? Good. I was super clear. Everyone understood. Yeah. You get a microphone over there.
You mentioned your company is in Sweden, or?
Yes, it's a Swedish company.
Okay, so it's in European Union, and what is the legal framework for tokenization of, assets?
Yes.
Is there such already established, or it's in progress of establishing, or?
So this is what, of course, we're talking about this like all the time, and I mean we can talk about this afterwards. But like the short answer is, it seems to be okay to tokenize stuff, to tokenize real-world assets. That's not a legal issue. The issue comes when you start to enabling trading. So then you need to use the blockchain to sort of let them trade, but not facilitate the trade. So if it's an NFT, and we can enforce that everyone that is trading is whitelisted, then we can let them trade on some other NFT marketplace, as long as we don't control them. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But it's a bit tricky, yeah. It's, government control, so to speak, which I don't like. Cool. Well, if you have any questions about any of the projects, the speech, or to me, I'll be around. Thanks.